Today's story is called Grandma Knows. My late grandmother would always share her superstitious beliefs with us. Like, she would always tell us to never really close the door when an infant is inside the room so the unseen wouldn't lock them in. She taught us how to pray every time we showered so the unseen, as she called, wouldn't drown us and things like that. Whenever we had to walk down a staircase, she would tell us to do the cross sign, so the unseen wouldn't push us down. Even though my mom argued a lot, she ended up kind of agreeing with these things. My grandmother had two children, my mom and my uncle. And my uncle, he kind of devoted himself to teaching and never really got married. But my mom, she had 11 kids. When my grandfather died in 82. So when my grandfather passed away in 82, my grandmother, she left her hometown to go live with my uncle in Manila, or sometimes she stayed with us in the province. My mom and my grandmother, they used to argue a lot because she had her favorite grandchildren. My eldest sister, my second eldest brother, and the 10th child. I'm the 11th. When my eldest sister returned after running away with her boyfriend at the time, my grandmother, she kind of suggested that they rented a flat near my uncle's in Manila. So they did. So my grandmother lived in Manila with my uncle, and right next door they had my sister and her partner. My grandmother didn't like my sister's partner very much, but she was very excited for her eldest granddaughter's arrival. And to shorten the story up, my grandmother kind of took care of my sister's two children. My eldest niece, my sister's eldest daughter, died because of a disease at the age of 2. So after that, her and her partner's relationship went rocky, to the point where my grandmother would always scold him. A year after my niece's passing, my sister's partner was killed at work. So now they had it was just my sister and my nephew. My nephew and I are 6 years apart. During summer vacation, I would always go there and stay with them. My nephew, he wears a lot of red shirts, and according to my grandma, the red kind of keeps the spirits away. So one day my nephew and I were playing. Me and him, we kind of heard her say something in another language that I later learned that meant, "I already forgave you. Go wherever you have to go." Then I saw her looking at an empty space as if she was talking to someone, but there was really nobody there. Years later, she kind of explained to me what happened. She said that my nephew's father was there, and that when she told him to go away, she never saw him again. I didn't take her seriously. I was 10 years old. And also I didn't tell anyone about the faces I was seeing at the foot of my bed. My grandmother's second favorite grandchild was my brother, JJ. He was the only one of the 11 children who wasn't able to finish the studies because his thinking process was so slow. He had to repeat 3rd grade 2 times, and then he kind of stopped to help my mom and my dad earn money. And my grandmother loved him so much. In 2001, my grandmother had to undergo an operation, so she went back to live with my uncle in Manila. And my uncle called my brother Jay to ask him to visit grandma. So he went there, and they gave him a tourist tour to Manila, bought him new clothes. So when he got back home, he looked fresh. He was brand new. In 2003, my grandmother had to undergo another operation because of her eye cataract. Then my brother JJ, he met an accident in the night of August 3rd, 2003. And the next day, he was in a coma at first, and then the next day he passed away. All my 6 sisters were working at Manila at the time, but they decided to go back home for my brother's funeral. And they didn't tell my grandmother because she had just had an operation in the eye and she would cry a lot. So they decided to kind of spare her of the suffering. I saw my uncle at my brother's funeral, and it was the first time that he actually cried. And we were all surprised to hear from him that our grandmother knew where he was going when he left Manila. He told us that he said to her that his friend bought him a ticket to Bicol, another city, and he was going to be gone for a day. but she just cried silently, and she said, "I know where you are going. Jay visited me already." That's when I knew that my grandmother was telling the truth about my sister's partner. She wanted to come home to her grandson, and she couldn't, she wasn't allowed, so she cried in that flat by herself with only the neighbors to care for her. After 9 years, my grandmother and my uncle, they moved back to Bicol, and I would visit them often, but you know, she was really old and she died in her sleep, and I was the first grandchild to arrive there. I was the least favorite. So that was today's story. I hope you enjoyed it.
If this story sent chills down your spine, please like this video, share it with your friends so they can have restless nights as well. Follow me on my social media and subscribe to my channel for more. Don't forget to click the bell button for notifications. Thanks for watching.